Hello everybody, my name is Eric, and today we're going to be taking a look at a scam I was alerted to in my Discord, which you should join if you haven't already, by the way. Someone pointed out that there's a scam going around with fake versions of ChatGPT Atlas. So first of all, what is ChatGPT Atlas? It's OpenAI's new web browser, and as we can see, it's only available on macOS. And that's probably because, at least as far as I know, everyone who works for OpenAI pretty much uses Mac. So they made a Mac version first because they had more experience with it. But more people use Windows than Mac, so there's a lot of people who wanted this on Windows, which doesn't exist. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at. So here are the features of ChatGPT Atlas. Kind of an interesting product, also an interesting privacy concern. I have tried it a bit on my Mac. I don't mind it. I certainly wouldn't daily drive it. There's also, I just because I got an email about this, Perplexity Comet, which is a competitor of this, asking about whether it was malicious or had privacy concerns. It's not malicious. These browsers do collect vastly more data than their predecessors, and whether that is acceptable and a worthwhile trade-off to you is something you got to consider. I mean, this one, pretty much the way it works, it's basically Windows Recall for your browsing history. It doesn't use screenshots, but it does index and embed your browsing history, which could be useful if you wanted to ask a question about a website you'd used, but it also could be a massive privacy concern. And it's also got this agent mode, which can now directly use your logins to access websites, which can be a security concern. But we're not looking at the real ChatGPT agent. We're looking at one that brings security concerns without the benefits. So if you go on Google, we just go for ChatGPT Atlas Windows, Google's AI overview is luckily smart enough to tell us that this doesn't exist. And we got complaining about the lack of a Windows version. Then we've got a spam AI-generated website. But if we go down, we get to this, which is malware. This is on the front page of Google. Now, this particular download has been taken down, but there are many that are the same thing. So let's take a look. What do you actually get here? ChatGPT Atlas Windows version. So it gives us all of the explanation. This seems to be a Japanese. Maybe GitHub has deployed some sort of automated system, which should be easy enough given OpenAI and GitHub have a relationship. So presumably they could take this down if they wanted to. So ChatGPT's intelligence with a browser. Now, one red flag is despite this being called the Windows version, we don't see any screenshots of Windows, right? This is clearly macOS. So let's go to the releases and let's try it out. So we get Atlas 7-zip. So we extract that, and we also get a source code zip. So let's see what that is. Now, given how much smaller this is, you may have a suspicion this isn't quite legit. So we got web. Oh, that's interesting. So there is something that it's obviously vibe coded, but it looks like they even have a decoy. Assets and source. What? Oh, that looks legit. I think these are just going to be the screenshots. Yeah, they are. Okay. So now let's take a look at the 7-zip file. There's no password. We get atlas win64.exe, and we got the icon. Now, once we hover over this, process level signature spoofing and virtualize. What? That doesn't sound like ChatGPT Atlas to me. Wraith protocol. Digital signature. This is a fake digital signature, which actually should glow in the dark even more to a competent antivirus, but we'll test it. So how to run, and of course we ignore our smell screen warning. Possible that a DLL might be getting blocked by our Frequency bootstrapper. There's so much stuff in here. I'm just curious why they're packing so much stuff. A hidden file? Portable. What else we got in here? Okay. Well, I think it's time I give you what you want and actually run it, but I am just going to set up some probes. All right, let's try it out. Now, it's possible it could use that vibe-coded UI as a further decoy, but I don't know. Oh, I think we've ran it. Atlas. Now we'll go to this one. I'm going to try it again just in case it didn't work. Okay, so Atlas has spawned. It pretty quickly closes. But that doesn't mean it... Let's check task scheduler. There's now a setup exe running. I'm going to have to elevate ProcX if we want to see it, but I'm confused as to how, because it would have to bypass, because we have UAC on, which should prevent this kind of activity. Now let's take a look at the actual file and see how the malware is actually made. That could give us some clues. Apparently Rust malware, which is not what I was expecting at that file size. I thought it was going to be a pretty simple debug data. Okay, we gotta crack this into Binja. What? Kids, you don't ship debug data with your malware. We can see this is actually being triaged as a Troy stealer. Although this one's calling it a Rusty stealer, so I don't know how. Let's see what else we got. Well, there's apparently a triage run, which can show us some more of its behavior. Yeah, I don't think there's symbols here, at least not fully. High installer. So why are we getting so many different? But okay, persistence, spyware, discovery, stealer. So what we want to see, okay. Anti-VM, of course. Computer location settings, so no Russia. Executes a drop DXE, DLL. Accesses cryptocurrency files. That's about as suspicious as we can get. Now, I'm curious to see if any of these runs had different behavior. It's possible that something in our system got detected. Yeah, so it's really into... Let me see if we have the... That's interesting. So it really likes... It seems to do something with the graphics. Really copies itself all over with quite believable names. So it does that, then it does check IP using a different check IP, and let's see what's on this paste bin. I'm sure it's a C2 server. I'm gonna be shocked if it isn't, but oh no, that's in. That's probably why ours terminated, is because these are probably down. Well, let's see, or maybe they're not. Maybe Microsoft didn't take them down. And then we see what are very clearly InfoStealer APIs. Downloads for more malware, Telegram, and the old classic Steam C2 server. So let's go take a look. Yep, and that's the actual C2, which can of course be changed. And if we hover over, we can see that the subdomain, they all seem to be in TweetHost, which might actually be a hosting company, is always changing. Now let's take a look at this new payload we just downloaded. It's going to be smaller and probably does the actual work. Oh, is it in the paste bin? It's not. Okay. This is actually an incredibly prolific amount of malware to be dropped. I'm kind of curious what the replay does when it works. So it does have a fake screen, pairing installation, checking for update. And it gets, okay, and then it throws that fake error message that I showed you when we were looking at the files. Oh, that is goofy. Okay. I take back some of the compliments here. That's goofy grade malware. You do not ever, ever do that. Should never be visible. Should never be obvious. It's like, oh, looks like there was some malware installed. Uptoast. Service.exe. Yeah. Definitely some malware. There's an InfoStealer. It unloads the kitchen sink of malware. And some of it's still up somehow. So hopefully more of this will be taken down. As I've said a few times, one of the best ways to find malware and one of the things to avoid is looking for things that don't exist, because there'll be 100% strike rate. If you look for malware for things that exist, there's a chance. If it doesn't exist, there's a 100% chance any exe you find that says this ChatGPT Atlas is malware. So that's going to be all from me for now. Please let me know what you think in the comments below and what you think more generally about these products, the potentially massive privacy implications. Bye.